Let me tell you something. Your entire existence is nothing but a big joke. It's funny, isn't it? As soon as your alarm rings, your life is just launched forward. You go to work, you meet other people, you form relationships, you might even make enemies. You fall in love, you become old, and then you die. But in between all of this drama, have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, am I real? What if your entire existence was a lie? Consider this. You finally got married to the love of your life after countless struggles. You cannot express how happy you are right now. With the sweet memories of how you guys first met, you're heading back home. But on the way back home, your car crashes into another car and you slowly lose all your consciousness. For a while, you see literally nothing around you. But then a bright light flashes and you begin to see a figure. You hear a voice. You have died, and unfortunately, you cannot respawn. You are shocked and you are totally out of words. This voice then tells you that he is your friend Ted from the future, and since he is your dear friend, he wants to give you a chance to bring yourself back to life. He points towards a door nearby and tells you that you can walk through that door right now to go back to your normal life. But, like a lot of things in life, there's a catch. If you walk through that door, you would have to live the rest of your life knowing a horrifying truth. Something more horrifying than death, suffering, or anything else for that matter. Something that shakes up your entire world around and makes you question each and every event that's transpiring. Ted then tells you that you have 10 seconds to decide to go through that door, or it would be closed forever. And after that, you would have no other choice than to go with Ted to the afterlife. What will you choose? Accept your fate and proceed to the afterlife? Or take the chance and live out the rest of your life knowing this so-called horrifying truth? Now let's say you chose to know the truth. What if you are the only person to exist in the entire universe? According to solipsism, the universe sprang into existence when you became sentient and it will vanish when you die. The idea behind this is that the only thing you can be sure of is the existence of your mind. Your mind is completely private and non-observable to anyone else. If you think about it, you experience your own mind every waking second, but you can only infer the existence of other minds through indirect means. Consider this. You're in a long-term relationship with your loving partner and you're just chilling with them on the couch. Everything seems fine till now. At one point, you feel like you know this person inside out. This is similar to how some couples just seem to merge into a single bubble at some point. But when you come to know that the same person about whom you knew so much lied to you and betrayed you, they seem like an entirely different person to you. You are shocked and wonder if this is the same person you fell in love with in the first place. You wonder what was going on in their heads the entire time. And that is exactly my point. And this is roughly the premise of what is referred to as the problem of other minds. It lurks at the heart of science, philosophy, religion, the arts, and the human condition itself. Let me ask you once again, how are you so sure that others are real and actually exist? The people in your life, like your friends, family, and even your cat, may just turn out to be a figment of your imagination. We cannot prove that these people are actually conscious. I mean, we don't have any device to measure consciousness, like maybe, I don't know, a consciousness meter. As long as we lack that, theories of consciousness will remain in the realm of pure speculation. Take the example of the arts. They can be seen as attempts to overcome the solipsism problem. All artists, musicians, poets, and novelists say, "This is how my life feels," or "This is how life might feel for another person." They help us imagine what other people around the world go through every single day. But guessing is not knowing. They might as well turn out to be lifeless robots programmed to behave in a certain way. Religion is another response to the solipsism problem. Our ancestors described a supernatural entity who bears witness to our innermost fears and desires. No matter how lonely we feel, how alienated from our fellow humans we are, it is told that God is always there, watching over us. So they assure you that you're not alone. Solipsism technically is an extreme form of skepticism. It is utterly illogical and sadly almost impossible to disprove. But on a positive note, it can also emphasize on the importance of empathy, as we can never really know how someone truly feels. But wait, there is actually one thing we could use to get rid of this horrifying confusion. Theoretically, technology could save us from the solipsism problem. If we all get brain implants with Wi-Fi in the future, we can connect minds through a kind of high-tech telepathy. When you get access to the insides of my brain, you could make sense of my thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But the question is, do we really want to escape our own prison and lose our individuality with such implants? Even if you reject solipsism from an intellectual position, you sense it emotionally. Whenever you feel strangled from others, whenever you confront the awful truth that you can never really know another person, and no one can really know you. There is another theory closely connected to this which is equally horrifying. Somewhere in a distant world, a scientist creates a machine into which he could disconnect and attach a human brain. And let's say he then connected this machine to a supercomputer. Now let's assume that this machine would not only keep the brain alive and functioning, but it would also allow the scientist to create visual input and sensory stimuli and feed them directly to the brain. Now the interesting part is that the brain would interpret all of this in exactly the same manner as normal human sensory experiences, as such senses are already normally interpreted as electrical signals anyways. But what the brain experiences in that world may not be what it is experiencing in a human body with free will. It is actually experiencing what the scientist is feeding it with. Makes sense? In this way, the scientist could create an entire world that is nothing but an illusion. But to the trapped brain, everything would feel completely normal. But in reality, it's not actually reality. So what is stopping us from concluding that our reality is none other than a brain being stimulated in the dark basement of an insane scientist? The idea of this theory is that no brain could ever know whether it was in a skull or in some sci-fi artificial machine, and could therefore never know whether everything it experiences is real or an illusion. So it's impossible to know whether one's beliefs are right or wrong. We can only hope. This one is a thought experiment scenario used in philosophy to draw out particular elements of human concepts like knowledge, reality, truth, mind, consciousness, and meaning. As this sentence finishes, you're brought back to Ted. Your face is now full of existential dread, and you start questioning your entire life and its true nature. Ted sees this and feels sorry for you. He starts talking. Now, with all that is said, let me ask you something. Does it matter? Does it matter when you sacrifice something important to you for someone you love, when you help a friend out in need, when you cook something for someone you love? That moment, that exact moment is very real, even though the reality that wraps around it may be questionable. So why worry? Asks Ted. You realize that Ted has just ripped out a movie scene from a Ryan Reynolds movie. But you realize that he is kind of right. With a whole new perspective on life, you walked through that door and you lived happily ever after. Just like that. Me and Ted need your support in order to continue to produce quality content. In the worst case, if we have absolutely zero support, we won't be having any other choice than to quit YouTube eventually. You can support us on Patreon. You'll be getting access to 2 of our digital posters, your name in the video description of our upcoming videos, and a video of Ted saying thank you 100 times. In addition to that, you will be able to access our Patreon feed, behind the scenes content, and get exclusive updates. If you're not so comfortable on Patreon or feel like supporting us a little more, you can support us on Buy Me a Coffee as well as Ko-Fi. And most importantly, if you're not interested or willing to do any of these, that's totally fine as well. Subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications, and we love you just as much. The description also has all the links for our social media platforms like Reddit, Discord, and Instagram. And that's it for now. Hopefully me and Ted will see you in the next video.